This video is brought to you by Card Kingdom. Become a legendary supporter of the show by ordering your Commander Legends cards from cardkingdom.com. Hey friends, here's the scoop. Commander Legends has just been released and everyone's cracking packs and buying singles to update their Commander decks. However, the set's main shtick is its unique drafting experience, where you can draft mini Commander decks to then play with in multiplayer pods. By all accounts, the limited format is super sweet, but unfortunately most of us are still stuck in quarantine and can't draft in person. Now usually if you can't play Magic in person, there's always Magic Arena to scratch that itch, but Arena doesn't support multiplayer, so it can't support Commander Legends Draft. But fret not, friends, because we already have the best digital platform to experience a new set, and that is Magic Online. Magic Online has been supported and in development ever since 2002, and remains to this day the best way to play the game digitally. Wizards of the Coast has sidelined Magic Online ever since they released Magic Arena, probably because Arena's fancy schmancy graphics made Magic Online's graphics look a little, dated in comparison. But with the current situation being as it is in 2020, the stars have finally aligned for Magic Online to shine once more.
Everything's coming up
Magic Online.
So in this video, I'm going to show you how to get into Magic Online, including setting up an account, the best keybinds and settings to enhance your experience, and how to jump straight into Commander Legends Draft Events and Constructed Commander, including ways to play Constructed Commander for free. So let's get started. First step is to go to the Magic Online site and download the client. Once the client is installed, open it and click on Create New Account. Once you've gotten through the crushing sadness of finding out that your preferred username is already taken and reached a bitter compromise that will forever haunt you,
hello darkness, my old friend.
Fill out the rest of the details and enter the confirmation code and you're good to go. You've now got a basic Magic Online account, which gives you a bunch of free standard cards and gives you 20 new player points, which is a special currency that lets you join new player events that ease you into the game. But to get into the Commander side of things, you'll need to upgrade your account, which will cost a bit of money. Click on the gear icon in the top right corner to reach the settings page. Then click on Account Settings and then click Upgrade Account, which will put the upgrade kit in your cart. Currently, upgrading an account costs $5. The Magic Online website says it's $10, but it's been $5 for months now, and Wizards of the Coast just hasn't bothered telling anyone the new price. They really don't want you to play Magic Online, you guys. Then go to the Collections tab, click Other Products, and open that sucker up. The upgrade comes with even more standard cards and 10 more new player points, plus 100 play points. Play points are a non-tradable account-bound currency that is one of two ways to enter pretty much any competitive event on Magic Online, including Commander Legends Draft and sealed events, with each event also rewarding play points based on performance. The second way to enter events is with event tickets, the primary currency on Magic Online, with one event ticket being roughly equivalent to $1, which you can buy from the store. Unlike play points, event tickets are tradable and are used not only for entering events, but are also the primary method of buying and selling cards. Alright, now that we've set up our Magic Online account, there's another account we can set up, a Cardhoarder account. This is totally optional, but I highly recommend it. Cardhoarder is one of the largest Magic Online retailers and is a sponsor of MTG Goldfish. They're currently offering free 5-ticket loan accounts, which let you borrow 5 event tickets worth of cards from Cardhoarder at a time. A 5-ticket balance doesn't sound like a lot, but with most cards costing a fraction of their paper equivalents online, you can actually borrow complete Commander decks with this 5-ticket limit. In fact, I've done 2 articles showing 10 Commander decks that you can borrow with this loan program, which you can find linked in the video description. Now, not all cards are super cheap online. Some mythic rares and cards found only in commander sets, for example, can still cost quite a bit on Magic Online, but the vast majority of cards are super cheap, so building full decks with a 5-ticket loan account is pretty easy. So all you have to do to set up a free 5-ticket loan account is go to the Cardhoarder website and then click over here at Get a Free 5-Ticket Loan Account. So once you're here, all you have to do is fill out this form and include your Magic Online username. Then you hit submit and that's pretty much it. There's no strings attached. So here's how getting cards from Cardhoarder works. You can either select cards directly from the Cardhoarder website, or alternatively, if you're on the MTG Goldfish website, then at the bottom of every single MTG Goldfish deck list, there's a button that says Buy from Cardhoarder. And a link to this particular deck list is going to be found in the video description below. So what we want to do is click Buy from Cardhoarder, which will import the entire deck list over to the Cardhoarder website. Then we just click Add to Cart. Then to complete your order, make sure that you have the correct Magic Online username, make sure that the delivery method is automated, and then for payment method, choose whatever payment method works. For us, we're going for the loan account, and then just click Place Order. Once you do that, you'll get an order confirmation page. You'll get an email sent to you with the file of the order sent, so you can just import that very easily into your collection. And then within minutes, an automated bot will contact you on Magic Online to give you the cards. And here we go. Here's the automated bot delivering a message to us. It tells us to type yes to them to initiate the trade. We then accept the trade. And to grab all of our order at once, you can just click on a card and then press Ctrl A to select all of the cards, and then just click and drag over to the You Will Receive panel, and then click Submit. And then Confirm Trade. And then boom, we have all the cards from our order. Easy peasy. Now that we've got a Magic Online account and also maybe a Cardhoarder loan account, let's set up our first commander deck. While you could build a deck from scratch by picking individual cards from your collection tab by going over to collection and then add a new deck, I'm going to call it new deck, and then just selecting and putting cards from your collection into the new deck and building it that way. A much easier way is if you have a complete list somewhere, then you can just import that instead. Most online deck builder sites have an option to export your list. For example, any list on MTG Goldfish has a download button where you can get the text file of your list. Also, if you're using the Cardhoarder program, then a file of each order will be emailed to you. If you have a file, then all you gotta do is click on Add New Deck, and then click on Import, and click on the deck list you want to import. Then we can change up the name. I'm just gonna call it 5 Ticks Muldrotha. Make sure the format is correct. In this case, we wanna make sure it's Commander. Pick a nice deck box icon if you're feeling fancy. Let's go Fajani over here. And then click on OK. The last thing you have to do is move your commander over to the commander section. And then boom, our deck is ready to go. Alright, now let's join a game. If you're looking for a Commander Legends limited event, then you'll want to click on Limited over here, choose Sealed or Draft, and then click on the type of event you want to join. You can see over here that I'm already in a Commander Legends multiplayer draft league. These events all have entry fees. You have to pay to get in with either event tickets or play points. You can find out more about each event by clicking the More Info tab, which will open up a website talking about each event and all the little nitty-gritty parts of playing in that event. And you can also find the prize structure by clicking on the View Prizes tab, and this will show you the prize structure of the event. You'll also notice that there's something called Phantom events. These are events that don't let you keep the cards that you draft, but in return they cost less to enter than their non-Phantom counterparts. So it's a great option if you're just looking for the drafting experience and not to play with the cards you drafted in constructed events later on. So that covers events. Now, if you're looking for casual games of Commander, then click on Constructed, and then click on Commander Open Play. On the right side, you can select what deck you want to enter the Commander games with. So we're on the 5-ticket Muldrotha deck that we recently imported. And then you can choose a game that has an open slot available by double clicking on that game. So for example, here we have 2 slots available. If I want to join, I can just double click here or just click on the play button. Or you can create your own game by clicking on the create button at the bottom over here. Keep in mind the Commander Open Play has no admission fees whatsoever, so you can play as much as you'd like for free. And now we get to the most important part of the video, getting familiar with Magic Online's controls and customizing them to your liking. This is the difference between you loving or hating the client. Playing Commander without having some basic understanding of keybinds and shortcuts can be a clunky and miserable experience. But once you know the basics, everything gets so much smoother and streamlined. So the first step is to go to your settings by clicking the gear icon in the top right corner. So first thing I recommend is clicking on display and sound settings. I personally hate the sound effects in the client, so I turn the master volume down to 0. And then the play client startup music gives me a heart attack every single time it happens, so I make sure to uncheck that as well. The next important thing are the input settings. So we click on input settings over here, and then boom, you have all your very useful keybinds. Now you can play Magic Online without using any of these keybinds whatsoever. All these inputs are available to you just by clicking your left mouse button and right mouse button. However, it would be very slow and very clunky to do it just this way. So these keybinds are your friends. First, for mouse controls, I always use the middle button, the zoom card button, because you just get to look at any card that is on the battlefield and read it way more easily. Also, if a card is face down and you could potentially see what's underneath it, like if it's a morph card, for example, that you control, you could just zoom in on the card and it will show you what is underneath it. Then we have some default keybinds. Clicking yes or no to card effects, usually may effects. Consecrated Sphinx, for example, is you may draw a card, so you just want to press yes to it almost all the time. So you can just press 3 instead of, dragging your mouse over and clicking yes or no. Zoom, again, is quite useful. You could have it in your middle mouse bar, or you could just keybind it however you want. Q, I'm going to leave it as Q. Cancel, also really good. If you're about to do something and you decide you don't want to do it, you just cancel it. Undo, highly recommend that you master this button because I always tap mana, for example, always tap mana wrong the first time, and then Control Z, if you haven't already committed to that action, Control Z lets you undo any of the actions that you haven't fully committed to yet. So if you tap incorrectly before casting a spell, you could just, tap incorrectly, then Control Z to untap, and then tap correctly. Then we have the in-duel key bindings. These are going to be really important, but they're going to be hard to explain without being in an actual game first. So what I would recommend is having keybinds for all of these assigned and then just having them accessible somewhere on the screen so you can remember what they are, and I'm going to explain them more in depth really soon. So put the in-duel key bindings on pause for a moment and let's just finish up over here with in-duel settings. So click on that, and here you're going to have control of all your stops in the game. These are going to be the default stops when you enter any sort of Magic Online game, and they're different for one-on-one games and multiplayer games. When you set a stop, you are reserving the right to do something before leaving that part of the turn. Note that you always have the option to respond to a spell or ability regardless of your stop settings. So for example, we're going to focus entirely on multiplayer games because Commander Legends Draft and Commander Open Play are both multiplayer settings. If we have a check mark on our main phase, that means we will always have to press OK or yield priority before we would leave that main phase. If we put a check mark on the draw step, it would stop on the draw phase, our draw phase, and we'd have to press OK or yield priority before we move to the main phase. And the same thing happens with every single opponent. We can have a stop wherever we want in any phase for any opponent. For me personally though, these default settings work really well for me. I like these phases, these stops on our own phase, and I like how these stops are made for our opponents. I especially like that we have a stop at the end step before our turn, on our last opponent's turn. So if we have anything really important we want to do before it becomes our turn, we have that little end stop over here. But again, these things are entirely customizable, and more importantly, once we enter a game, we can change them on the fly. But this is what's going to be loading up every single time. These are the defaults for us. Alright, now that we've customized our setup a bit, I'm going to jump into a Commander game to show you the in-game keybinds in action. Alright, to showcase the in-game duel settings, we have just joined one of my Commander Draft League games, and we won the die roll, so that's always a good start. So the first thing you want to be doing in any Commander game is looking at what everybody's Commander is. By default, they're tucked away, which is an odd choice, I would say. So go to everybody's Commander tab and just click on it to showcase what everybody's running. And the first thing that I do is I click the Disable Bluffing button, whatever that keybind is for you. For me, it is 8. What that does is it says, if you do not have any relevant action to do, you can't tap a land for mana, you can't cast any spells, you can't activate any abilities, for example, you can't do anything, then by pressing Disable Bluffing, that will make sure that the game will not ask you to press OK to things. They won't stop priority for you if you can't actually do anything with that priority. So that's number one. That's also why everybody taps out, by the way. By tapping out, it allows you to use that Disable Bluffing button, which, I mean, isn't good competitively speaking, because that means your opponents know that you have nothing to do. But if you do sincerely don't have anything to do, it just saves you a bunch of time and clicks by just tapping out and utilizing that Disable Bluffing button, so you don't have to press OK constantly. Now, Disable Bluffing only works if you indeed cannot do anything once you would have priority. Unfortunately, a card like Commander Sphere has an activated ability that you can use at any time, regardless if you're tapped out or not. It says sacrifice Commander Sphere, draw a card. You can do this in response to anything. So, what we're going to have to start using instead of Disable Bluffing is we're going to yield until a certain turn. For us, in this case, I'm going to right-click the main phase, and I'm going to go down to my turn, and I'm going to click yield until here. What this is going to do is it's going to just auto-yield through everybody else's turn until it comes to my next main phase, and then that will unstop itself. So we're just going to click that over here, and we get to pass until it's our next main phase. All right, so now we have our first triggered ability. What we want to do for an ability that we don't really care about responding to ever is we can either use our hotkey, always yield to this, or just right-click the trigger and then click always yield. So my keybind is T, or you could just right-click the trigger and then say always yield to triggered abilities from cards named the Monarch's Emblem you control. So now you're never going to have to press OK to that ability ever again. So another thing you can do while you have priority and you have your commander on the battlefield is you can control where it will go if it leaves the battlefield. By default, if your commander is sent to your hand, it's going to stay in your hand, not go to the command zone. But you can change that by clicking here, and it will change it to command zone instead of hand. Generally speaking, though, you want it to go to your hand instead of your command zone, so you can just recast it without paying its command tax. So you just click it again and it's back to hand, not command zone. Same thing with command zone instead of library. If it would go to your library, you can instead just make it go to your command zone instead, and that's the default. But if you want it to go to your library, you can just click this and it will go to your library instead. So when your commander dies and goes to the graveyard, you can actually just choose yes or no if you want it to stay in the graveyard or not. In this case, I do want it to go back to the command zone, so I'm going to click yes. Also, if you have auto-yielded to a specific trigger and you have decided later on in the game that you no longer wish to auto-yield to that trigger, you just have to press the Remove Auto-Yield button. For me, on my keybinds, that is 5. I'm sure everybody knows in Commander there's going to be situations where a ton of triggers happen all at once and you have to put everything on the stack. So you could go clicking every single trigger individually, but if the ordering of the triggers doesn't really matter, you can use a keybind, stack abilities automatically. For me, this is Keybinds 7. Alright, and that should wrap up this quick guide to getting onto Magic Online to play Commander and Commander Legends. I hope you enjoyed, and if you are interested in a more in-depth guide or a more specific guide, let me know what you think should be addressed. If there's any specific type of video you want me to do in the future, maybe you want me to go over just the specific keybinds, maybe you want me to go over the interface in general, let me know in the comment section below, and I might send out some more guides that are a little bit more specific, less generalized. And yeah, that should be it, everyone. So until next time, friends, see ya! Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, help us out by clicking the like button down below. And to keep up with the latest and greatest, make sure to click the subscribe button. And if you want to watch similar videos, click on the links appearing on screen right now.